So good.
Hey, welcome to the Toolshed. We're so happy that you stopped by. Hanging out with my good friend, Eddie McFarlane. This one-of-a-kind Toolshed is brought to you by Schedule Engine. If you haven't checked out Schedule Engine, you should check out what all the other contractors are using to have less headaches and book more calls.
That makes sense to me.
Hey, we got a great episode for you. We're happy that you joined us. Hey, Mom. And
Hi, Ann.
Hey, hi, Ann. And hey, today's episode is sponsored by our good friends over at Emerson. We're super thankful for our friends over there.
Wahoo.
We've known a lot of those people for a long time, just really good humans, doing great work. You're going to be working on a Copeland compressor somewhere today. That's going to be great. And like, you should thank your friends at Emerson as well. So,
Right on.
hey, good episode. I got a good story to tell today.
I love a good Jerry story. I don't know if that makes me unique, but man, just feels like settling into a nice, comfy chair.
I had a sales team one time, and one of the sales guys said, man, you know, Jerry tells the same stories over and over, but they're so good. Like, we let him tell them over again because we get something different out of it every time.
Yeah, I don't get that. I get that. We've heard this already. So what are we doing this week? This week it's all about pricing, right?
Yeah.
Pricing stuff. What
Yeah.
do we?
Hey, we're going to talk about an experience, a little aha moment I had. We're going to talk about some good stuff that you're going to be able to use. Like, hey, there's a lot of meat on the hook this season, right?
For sure.
Right. And so, hey, you can box this thing up. You can show it. This can be your meeting. It's going to be about 30 minutes or so. You can stop the tape halfway through and do an exercise. You can like this is like a meeting in a box, and it's all about the huddle, right? We want you to like. Let's have a huddle and call the play we're going to run.
Love it.
And everybody knows what their assignment is in that play.
Right on.
And you know, I love sports.
Hey, it might be my
especially love college football.
Go Clemson. This, as far as I can tell, will be my only chance of being in a huddle, despite this athletic frame that you see before you. I've not been in many huddles, but I'm enjoying this, and I love what you're saying because you know when you're in the huddle, you're all part of a plan, and then it's your job to go out and do it, and you know. Doesn't really count unless you don't do it.
You know, like, hey, you know, if you go to a football game, let's just think about this. Like, you know, the owner, he's sitting at the 50-yard line in the booth, right, in the nice suite, right. The head coach is maybe on like the 50-yard line. He's like in like
he's got
the
some skin in the
trenches,
game.
right?
Yeah.
The offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator, they're up in a booth as well, and they see the game a little differently.
Yeah.
So they're calling the play. They're calling it down to the sideline. They're signaling it into the quarterback. The quarterback, Peyton Manning, let's just say Peyton Manning before he retired, he's in the huddle. Like sometimes he has to call a little bit of an audible.
Right on.
But once he calls the audible, everybody on the team knows that play. Like we changed the play. And, you know, he used to, you know, huddle. He used to hurry. That means like the center was supposed to snap the ball quicker. Sometimes you need like a little huddle. Sometimes you got to have a hurry huddle.
Right on.
But you got to huddle with your team, man. It's a contact sport. You got to put your hand around them. You got to touch them. You got to love on people.
I love what you're saying about how different people have different perspectives of the game. And, you know, one of the things that you see on those teams is there's trust, right? Like when a call comes down, they trust that somebody's seeing something. And when there's an audible on the ground, they're trusting that person has seen something. And it's, you know, Lencioni talks about like, you know, the one of the hallmarks of a great team is trust. And so I love this whole huddle idea. You're a genius. Yes, you are. Don't even argue with me. Coach Jerry.
That's two people that think that, my mom and Eddie.
I thought you were going to say me and Eddie. All right. Okay, so let's speaking of great teams, who are we shouting out? Well, listen, we one of the things I love about the Toolshed is getting to meet new companies across the country, tackling the same work, bringing their own flavor to it. And there's a great, if you haven't checked them out, check out Champion Plumbing. Check out their social media. A lot of fun. Speaking of plumbers, who else we got?
Oh, we got one right here.
Yeah, the other plumbing team that big fans of the Toolshed, and we're glad they're here, is Team Lutz Plumbing. Amber and her whole team there.
Good hat.
They're building the team, and they're practicing the huddle, and they're trying to do it right. Trying to take care of it. That suits you, buddy. They're trying to take care of it.
I like to wear it this way, but
hat.
my wife doesn't like it. This way.
Listen, I'm your buddy, and
Don't do it.
Yeah, I don't think you can do that. Just I'm keeping it real. All right. So along with Jerry's complete wardrobe change. Along with everything else, let's give away some things. So if you remember, each week we're going to give away an actual tool, because the Toolshed is the place you come to make every job easier, and the right tool for the right job, just like the right step of the system at the right time makes life easier. The right tool makes it easier. And so what we're going to do, we have a wonderful set of Klein. It's the 1,000-volt insulated screwdrivers. It's for those that care, it's a number 2 Phillips and a quarter slot. That means right now there's like 3 people geeking out, but that's pretty cool. But there's wire strippers, the whole 9 yards. So 2 sets of pliers. It's a great. Check out the Facebook group. 3 ways to win. Become a member, refer a member, or just start a conversation, engage, build a team, and help make that space positive. You could be the answer to somebody's struggle today, but you need to put yourself out there. So go ahead and do that, and we'll throw some swag your way. We'll announce the winner each week. Check the group, as they say. You got to be there to win it.
We got some good swag. We got new hats. We got some cool looking hats to give away this season.
Yeah, right.
We got the Be Good, Do Good on the side. We got some cool stuff. These some of these tools you're giving away.
Oh, they're real.
Like wow, that in a couple of days it's going to be crazy good.
Oh, yeah.
Right, and so it's easy. It's easy to participate with us, engage. And we're going to be in the Facebook group after the show. So hit us up, man.
Yep. Let us know what we did and what you need help with. Speaking of awesome swag, and is our good friend GHVACjess. Each week she is taking time out of her busy schedule. If you want to see how busy she is, check her out on Instagram. You can follow her day-to-day routine. It's everything from it's everything from service work to her learning to the things that she's thinking about as an apprentice going through the journey. And so she's recorded a video for us about her apprentice journey, and let's check it out.
Hi, Toolshedders. This is GHVACjess bringing you the apprentice tip of the week. Sometimes you'll show up to a job, maybe a service call, and the customer is like, "You're an apprentice. I was hoping for a qualified technician." How do you deal with that? I just have a conversation with them. I explain that, yes, I am an apprentice. I'm learning this trade. I am at this point in my apprenticeship, and I've learned this at school so far. But also that I am highly supervised. And depending on what kind of job I'm doing, sometimes someone is behind me checking my work, making sure that I'm doing the right thing, the right time, in the right way. So they can rest assured that their job is being done by a professional, even though I am an apprentice. And when you're having this conversation with them, don't forget to smile.
Love it.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Like, listen. Like Marlin's Law, we have 5 principles on the Toolshed. Principle number 1, tell the truth.
Right on.
Be honest with people. You know, when somebody says, "Hey, how long you been doing this?" and you've been doing this like 2 months.
Yeah.
It's okay to say, "Hey, 2 months, but I've had a lot of training and I have a lot of support, and we have a big base of knowledge, and I can get some help." Or
Yeah, you're right on. What I love about Jess's approach is the mindset. She's not offended. No, she's like, it's the customer. We're going to talk a lot about the customer mindset, and the customer's allowed to think what the customer wants to think. And so as she's going through that, I love that she's focused on her communication. And I know that not everybody likes having a customer up in their business, but it's the customer's prerogative, right? And so I love the advice. I love the authenticity that she's embracing on her journey. Like, there's a lot of apprentices. I know when I first started, I was a little nervous, especially when you get cut from the nest the first time, you've been doing ride-alongs, and they're like, hey, run this call on your own. And it's good to be part of a team. And the last thing I'll say is, she knows this is coming up, and she already knows ahead of the next time somebody says this
what she's going to say.
And that's the hallmark of a pro. She's not waiting to figure out. She's like, oh, you know, this is probably going to happen. I'm going to make sure I know what to say. And we appreciate her. So hopefully you find that useful. If you're an apprentice, embrace it. Connect with other apprentices and enjoy the journey, because we were all students at one point, and hopefully, if we're honest, we're all still students along the journey. So I appreciate Jess sharing.
What did they say about the expert? The expert is just the amateur that kept trying.
That's it.
I can't hardly get that out.
But it's profound. It is.
It's true though, right?
It is,
We're
absolutely.
all amateurs, and so it's not about fake it till you make it.
No, man.
Like that's not it.
Everybody knows you're like.
Everybody knows you're faking it.
If
Just
you're like, I got the foot. Nah, man. We know.
We know.
We know.
That's right.
It's really awkward.
And if you don't ask for help, and you need help, and you don't ask for help, that's the worst technician.
Right on.
The ones that don't ask for help.
Right
Listen,
on.
when you call somebody with more knowledge than you, been in the business a little longer than you call your supervisor and say, I have a question. You're not saying, I don't know it. He already knows that you don't know it.
Right. Right.
By not calling, you're just proving you don't want to learn it.
Right.
So, hey, tear that phone up, put your supervisor on speed dial, and one day you'll be the supervisor.
Absolutely. Everybody needs a battle buddy. All right, so speaking of things we see in the field, let's pull up our funny stuff. I think it's funny. I don't get much.
That's all that matters.
So
really,
this is it. Every one of us right now recognizes this. We're going there, the air conditioner's an Igloo, but there's a suspiciously clean filter. Take 2 steps to the left, and wedged between that ductwork and the kitty litter is the filter that looks like the Kraken. I'm telling you, it's nasty, it's gross, but hey, at least they changed it right before you got there. So,
that is a true fact, though.
Kudos.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at the next one. This one's great. If you look at this is, we've all had customers take an interest in our work. I think this is taking it to the next level. It's, I think that counts as VR. I don't know, man. That's I've had customers pull out a chair. I don't know if I've had any, but what you doing? All right. Hey, if you're doing that, if this is your day, wear deodorant. All right, let's take a look at the next one. All right, I saw this one. This one's been doing the rounds. I don't know if the car air conditioning is trying to cool down that apartment or the apartment is cooling down the car, but either way, it's 2021, folks. This is how we know. We're living. This is the future. We were promised flying cars, and we got that instead. But hey, it's progress.
The future is now.
Oh my gosh, it's like, can you imagine? I would love to be part of that conversation. Dude, do you have any hose? How about duct tape? All right, last one. Let's say this one's great. This is, look, if you do have an apprentice and you send them for a bucket of steam, or the left-handed screwdriver, or the sky hook. In Scotland, you know what they send you for? This is mean. This is so mean. They send you for a bucket of tartan paint.
Oh, yeah.
That's not, and I
It's
made...
a Scottish joke.
Yeah, if you're in Scotland, like, there's 3 people that are, like, Daryl, Paul, that one's for you, buddy.
Did I mention I'm 32% Scottish?
You did.
Okay, did I tell y'all about that? Like, I found out I was 32% Scottish through Ancestry.com, and the first thing I thought was, Eddie and I are related. Scully Coley was right.
I'm going to draw a Jerry diagram later and let them know how familial relations work, but that's not for the show. All right, so that's the stuff. Hey, safety tip. Real quick, before we got a ton of stuff to get into, the safety tip today, it's kind of a safety tip, kind of a life experience thing. Here's the thing. Clean workers are safe workers. And what I mean by this is a clean truck is a safe truck. A clean work site where you're working is a safe work site. Today, please be careful. Clean up as you go. It looks more professional. Again, if a happy customer is just the culmination of everything you do in your process, working clean is a huge process. If it looks like your first day on the job, they're going to ask you a lot of questions. If you're organized and neat and tidy, and you don't have to do the old, I call it the 2-door 2-step, where you start opening the door and you have to jump back because your truck lands at your feet. 2-door 2-step.
That was a nice move.
Straight up,
really.
been practicing that in the green room all morning. That's good.
Hey, you know, like if you open up your door and a cup falls out and rolls down the street, That's the first impression you're making.
That's it.
And there's a lot of neuroscience behind this. Like I may not sound like I know a lot about neuroscience, but like, there's a lot of neuroscience around clutter.
Oh my.
Like how your mind relates to clutter. And how you spend so much of your energy dealing with clutter that it takes away from like being your best self for people and presenting like the best version of you to people because you're working on that clutter all day. So
15-year-old me is listening really hard right now.
Yeah.
And don't sell yourself short. I think you could pass as a neuroscientist. Small end. I worked with a buddy once.
I once was a rocket surgeon.
That I believe. Anything's possible on the internet, folks. I was working with a buddy once and braked at a stop, came to a stop at a stop sign, a red light, and something rolled forward from the truck underneath the pedal. And he was, let's just say he was sweating bullets, and that's about as nice as I can put it. So listen, as our friend HVAC Reefer Guy says, work safe, be good humans, and most importantly, go back home to your family in one piece. You owe it to yourself. And so we joke, but we want you to take it seriously. Your customers will thank you, and we'll thank you. So listen.
That all has to do with the big rock, right?
Yeah, big rock.
Right, you got to get home safe to the family. That's the key.
I love that we have the big rocks there. This is good. All right, so story time.
Story time.
We're talking about pricing and how we introduce pricing, maybe how we feel about pricing, and sometimes, you know, from good intentions, we don't present maybe everything, or we don't tell the whole story, or we're trying to like, well, they don't know what I do, so maybe I'll save them some work, and we think we're taking care of a customer, but your story was reminding me that sometimes that's not always how it works out.
Well, you know, we just have these ideas in our head, and maybe somebody told us, like, this is how these type of customers are, or we had an experience with this type of customer, and now we think every customer is like that. And sometimes, like, we feel like, you know, we have to do all the heavy lifting because the customer can't think for themselves. Well, they can, right? Well, we have to help them a little bit, but I had an aha moment one time, and I'm thinking that we need like some kind of intro music when I do story time.
Just angels.
Could you do like, oh? Okay, so
that's why they're here.
So you know, Eddie was a technician. I was in sales for a long time. Sales training, sales manager, sales. But I had a air conditioning call to go to quote a job for a customer.
Right.
And it was a Jerry sold last, which means I had sold them an air conditioner in the past, and now the other air conditioner was dead, 2 systems on the home, and they want the same person. So it makes sense, like we would send the same person out.
Right on.
Right? You send your same technicians to the same house over and over and over.
Yep.
Like, trust, and know. Right? So I had a Jerry sold last, which are really, really nice, by the way.
That's going to make you smile on your way as you're getting ready for the call. You're reading the notes. Jerry sold last.
If you know, and you want to play the long game.
Right on.
You want to play the long game. I once went on vacation. I came back to 7 Jerry sold last.
I think I would turn around and go on vacation.
So I just drove around all week and talked to people about their dogs and their kids and showed them a price, and they said yes because we did such a good job on the first one.
All right. So what was this aha moment?
So here's how it worked. So I go out to this house, Jerry sold last. Now that we replaced the upstairs air conditioner, and now it's the downstairs air conditioner. So a couple of years before that, when I was out there for the upstairs air conditioner, I said, listen, folks, here's kind of how it works the majority of the time. The majority of the time, the upstairs air conditioner dies first because the bedrooms are upstairs, heat rises, more workload, you know, and so then a couple of years later, the downstairs air conditioner passes away, and you have to replace that. So while I'm here, if you want, I can give you a price to do both of them.
Right.
And it might be a little cheaper for you because we can save a little bit on labor and things like that. They said, no. We're just going to do the upstairs air conditioner. So that happened. 2 years later, they call me. They say, hey, come back out here. We want to replace the downstairs air conditioner. And when I got there, this is the aha moment. I said, hey, I understand you want to replace the downstairs now. They said, yeah, we don't want to get into the same situation we did with the upstairs unit. And I said, being me, Well, tell me more about that.
Ah.
And the homeowner said this. They said, listen, when the upstairs unit started giving us a problem, we had a membership with you. We called you. You guys came out. You did about like a $600 repair, a $400 repair. We did a couple other little things. It was about $1,000 to get that thing up and running. And a year later, it died, and then we replaced it.
Right.
So after you left the last time, Jerry, and we're glad you're here, but like we're not really glad to see you, right? And so they said, hey, the last time you were here, when you left, we said, you know, we really paid an extra $1,000 for that air conditioner.
Yeah.
If
right
we would have just bit the bullet when we had some problems with it, we would have benefited for that year. We financed it because, you know, we had to finance, so we didn't save up for this. We could have just made payments on it. We wouldn't have been out of $1,000 out of our pocket.
Right.
And we could have saved, you know, 25, 30% on our energy costs for that year that old one limped along. And it was an aha moment for me because I was like, I should take you on my sales calls with me and you can explain that to other people. But it was the story that stuck with me.
You know, as I listen to you, like I'm imagining I'm a roofer that runs sometimes patch jobs versus full jobs, or I'm the plumber, you know, maybe replacing an igniter or a gas valve or something on a water heater. I'm thinking of all these situations, and what I'm thinking about, like, because I'm remembering when I was a technician, and when you don't have experience, conviction comes from experience, right? And when you don't have it, you need to borrow it from those that have been down your road before. And when your customers tell you stories like that, it's straight from the horse's mouth, and there's no better conviction.
I used it over and over and over as a third-party story.
Yeah.
This is what another customer told me.
Yeah.
And I told that story to other customers because it really worked. You know, it made sense for them, and you can use that story.
Absolutely.
That's
how it works. When, like, coming to the tool shed, if you're in that situation, you don't need permission. I certainly wouldn't say, well, I had a client. I'd say, you know, I'm reminded of a story from a friend of mine, and here's what his customer shared. How do you feel about that? And what I love about what you said, the whole thing was gold, Jerry, solid gold. But what I loved about it was you said, I said, tell me more about that. And so you allowed the customer to unpack it. And so for anybody here today, that is now in your tool belt. That's one of your stories. That's where conviction comes from. They say that good experience comes from judgment comes from good experience. Good experience comes from bad judgment, right? Like, and so you need to go down the road a little bit, and you can learn. And we sort of said it last week. You know, a smart person learns from the mistakes. A genius learns from other people's. And so as you're coming through this journey with us on the Tool Shed, when you hear Jerry share an aha moment like that, there's a couple of takeaways. First, don't spend your customer's money. You let the customer teach you. Their aha moment became your aha moment, and you've shared it.
Well, Eddie does a really nice job, and this is on season 1 episode that you did. You talked about this, but you got to play the tape forward for that homeowner. So if that technician 3 years earlier would have said, "Hey, you got about $1,000 worth of repairs to get this thing back up and running, and you know they're engineered to fail,
right?
And this air conditioner is going to fail on you." And they said, no, we want to go ahead and put the $1,000. If he could have just spent a little more time with them and let them understand, if you spend $1,000 now and you buy a new one next year, you're the best customer for us because you spend the most money. We get the money. Listen, you paid for the air conditioner. We just kept it at the warehouse.
Right.
Do you want us to bring it out?
So, you know, I think it was one of your friends commented on one of the episodes. You know, it's the questions, right? What you do is you help. The way the best teams play the tape forward is by using questions. Missy Smith, of course, we'll be happy to do whatever you want today. Do you mind if I just ask a few questions? We get permission, and then from right there, what we do is, if we spend this $1,000, how much longer do you expect this system to last? Right there, you're not putting words in their mouth. You're connecting that today $1,000, and now they're going to have to do some cognitive work, because I guarantee they're only thinking about getting AC today. They haven't thought about how long it is, and if they're good and you've done your job, they're probably going to ask you how long it lasts, and you can say something like, well, you know, it's always difficult to say, but in my experience, in our experience, if you're an apprentice, they last about X. And you always speak the truth, right? Okay, so if we did that, how would you feel in about 1,000 years? I want you to be happy with 1,000 years. Spending $1,000 and it lasts a year or two. Is that okay? Now, when do you expect it to? What are you hoping to get out of a new system, and what would it take, and when would you be ready to do that? And these questions help the customer think through in their own mind. You're like you're fast forwarding that little I think of a VHS tape because I'm old. And you're helping them see their situation, and then you can just ask good questions, you can educate and inform, and if you're lucky, somewhere during that conversation, they're going to say the magic words. They're going to say, what would you do? That's holy ground, right?
Yeah, that's right. And so, hey, just think about it. It's okay if you explain all that and you play the tape forward and that customer says, well, really, we just need to do the repair.
100%.
That's totally okay.
Absolutely.
And they do the repair, and then it breaks a year later, and somebody like me rolls up in there and waves at them and it says, hey, you want to go ahead and replace it? They say yes.
We knew it was coming.
I say, hey, do you want to go ahead and do the downstairs at the same time because it's going to fail too? And they say, no, we're going to wait on that. And I would say, well, great, I'm going to see you in about a year. I'll come back over to your house in about 2 years. We'll do this again. You're not going to want to see me, but I'll come back and we'll chit chat, right?
Yep.
And I'm playing that forward for them because they know I'm coming back.
I love what you're saying, because remember, there's no Jedi mind tricks here in the tool shed. There's no magic bullets. It's not about manipulating people to get an answer you want. It's about playing the tape forward, bringing our experience to bear, and being really good at our job, being a craftsman, not ashamed of our work. We're going to ask the questions. We're going to let them answer. And if they're like, no, it's just really better for us right now, we understand everything you're saying, great, I'm going to get started and we'll get you taken care of. And if they go the other way, great. But you can put your head on the pillow at night knowing that you haven't done it. I think about whose call is it to run, right? I think there's two tracks. There's what you're trying to get done, and then the customer, and the conversation that takes place. But the customer's never done it before.
Right.
You do it 4, 5, 6, sometimes 10 times a day, right? And so who should be driving that call, right?
Yeah, you're in control of the call, not control of the customer.
Oh,
but you should control the call.
Say that again, because that is really good. You're in control of the call, not the customer.
Yeah, you can't control the customer, but you can control the call. You know you're going from point A to point B. You know what's going to happen. You just have to paint that picture. It's all about storytelling. And I've tried this at home where I say something and I say, I have spoken. And it never works at home. And I don't know if it works on the tool shed or not, but
it never works.
And listen, hey, the first time you tell that story, the first time you tell that third-party story, it might be a little bumpy.
Yeah.
And it might not work out exactly like we're telling you it's going to work out.
Right on.
But you got to keep telling that story. And listen, don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better at it, man.
Woo, Jerry. El Fuego today. I think that means you're on fire. That's awesome. Here's the deal. My huge aha moment there is, I think when I was a younger technician and I would hear things like this, I would be like, all right, I got to be in control. And that simple statement you made about you control the call, I think too many people hear stuff like this and they think you got to control the customer. And what you just said, our moral and ethical responsibility is to bring all of our experience to bear and try and have the best outcome for the call for everybody. But we never try and control. That is so good, Jerry. Yeah. We're going to wrap it up there. But today, your point of focus is to play the tape forward, have good stories, practice them, get really good at questions, and help your customer play the tape forward. I want to thank you for coming. I want to thank you for joining us on this episode of the Tool Shed. I want to thank our good friends at Schedule Engine for giving us the time. And of course, we wouldn't be here without the help of our great friends at Emerson. Jerry, you've been so good today. Why don't you take us out?
Hey, have a great day out there. Thanks for stopping by the Tool Shed. We care about you. We love you. Go home safe. Be good so you can do good. Thanks. Have a great day.